Okay, let's go ahead and get started. First of all, I just want to say thank you for taking the time out of your busy day to join us with this conversation around consolidated groups in Fathom. Throughout the webinar today, I'll be explaining how consolidated groups within Fathom can help you save time and as well some of that headache that does come with consolidated financials. And before we go into that, I'm just going to take a quick moment to introduce Fathom as a company and its history, as well as who I am and who Kaylin is. So Fathom has been around since 2011 and started in Brisbane, Australia. However, in the past few years, our offices have also opened in Cambridge, England, as well as Seattle, which is where we're located today. Fathom helps over 55,000 companies worldwide gain more insight into their financials or their clients' financials to help make better business decisions. We offer analysis tools, customizable reports, and forecasting functionality to ensure visibility into your or your client's financials. And we'll be going over most of those sections today. As for me, my name is Lena, and I'm a customer engagement manager here at Fathom. My job is to help trialists through the evaluation process to see if Fathom is the right fit for them, and then also go into onboardings to make sure that everybody's trained up and knows how to use Fathom in the best way. I'm going to be presenting this webinar today, and Kaylin, our customer support manager, will be here to answer any questions that may come up. So once again, feel free to send them through using the Q&A option. That way, if we don't get to them during the webinar today, we will be able to follow up through email with any answers that we may have. So she will be answering them live and then also feeding me some questions at the end so that we can answer them for more people. As a quick overview of Fathom as a platform, you're able to upload companies through Xero, QuickBooks, or Excel, and that way all of that information will live within Fathom, and from there you can consolidate those financials into one group. So that means that you're able to make those updates easily, especially if you're using cloud software. We can have it automatically update each day, which takes a lot of that legwork out of it. Along with our easy to generate reporting options, we've seen firms save an average of 14 hours per reporting cycle with Fathom consolidation. So it really is a time saver. And if it's time saving is as important to you as it is to me, Fathom consolidations are definitely a great option to consider. Today, we're going to be going over the main parts of consolidations within Fathom, how they work, and how that makes life a little bit easier for you. So to start, I'm going to give some background and details on Fathom consolidation, so just some quick little facts there. Then we'll go over how to actually create a consolidated group, as well as the settings within a consolidation. Then we'll move into the analysis tools to see the consolidation specific tools that we have to offer there. Next, we'll move into reporting and explore the editing capabilities to ensure your consolidated reports have the information that you're looking for. I do like to point out that we recently expanded our consolidations reporting capabilities, which now include being able to bring in financials from specific subsidiaries. So you can look at a P&L for just one of those companies, as well as the consolidated group as a whole. So now here are just some quick facts about Fathom consolidations in case I accidentally don't touch on them. They're very important, so we like to make sure that we hit on them a couple times. So you are able to consolidate up to 300 entities in one consolidation as long as they're the same currency. That being said, we do offer multi-currency options as well, where you're able to consolidate up to 50 entities. So if you do end up doing a multi-currency consolidation, we also offer exchange rates from openexchangerates.com. However, you can also bring in your own to edit those if there's a different place that you're trying to get those from. And we'll go over how to do all of that as well. You can also create eliminations within Fathom. So we have account level eliminations as well as more detailed adjustments if needed. And we'll be going over both of those within the webinar as well. Lastly, I always like to point out that you are able to consolidate entities from different source accounting systems. So if you have one entity that's being housed in QuickBooks and one that maybe needs to be brought in through Excel or Xero, once the information's in Fathom, it all looks the same to us. So we're able to consolidate those entities pretty quickly. So now let's go ahead and actually jump into the system so you can all see what I'm talking about here. Kaylin and I are going to turn off our videos just so you can see a little bit better while we're going through the webinar, but I promise we'll still be here. Here we go. Sorry about that. Okay, so this is our My Company screen, and this essentially works as your homepage for Fathom. So as you can see, all of the companies that you've uploaded will be available in one place. You can see that we have some Excel companies as well as a QuickBooks company. And if you have Xero entities, they will be listed here as well. To add a new company or consolidation, we can just go up to this add button, and you can see we have the option for a company, a consolidated group, or a benchmark group. Since we're talking all about consolidations today, we're going to go ahead and walk through this consolidated group option. So as you can see at the top, we're able to add a group name, or more likely, I should say, you have to add a group name so that you can see what you're actually looking at. And so since this is just a demo, we'll just go ahead and put in Lena's consolidation. That way we can find it more easily. And then below that, you'll be able to see all of the companies that you've uploaded into Fathom, no matter what source accounting software they're from. So as you can see, we have a whole lot in here, but we're going to go ahead and just add in these demo companies. We're going to be walking through more specifics within a different consolidation, but just to show you how this works, we'll go ahead and do this. So we'll add this demo company AU, UK, and US. And you can see as soon as we add those companies over into this right-hand side, we also have these options at the bottom. So we're able to select the date range for the consolidated group. It'll go back as far as your furthest financials go back in any of these underlying companies, as well as the date that it goes through. So these companies are actually going ahead in time. So that's why we have it up through December 2022. You're also able to select the first month of the financial year. In this case, it's July, but if you wanted this to be presented for the calendar year, we could always change that to January as well. The last option we have here is the presentation currency. So it'll default to the currency of the first company that you've added, but you're always able to change this as well if you want it to be showing up in a different currency there. So as you'll see in just a second, as soon as we click create group, it's going to very quickly create this consolidation. So we'll go ahead and do that. And here it is. So everything's already set up and ready to go. We'll just need to configure some settings for it and create those reports, but your financials are already grouped together now. So what we're looking at right now is called our consolidations landing page. And as you can see, we have some different sections here, but we'll go through those in just a second. I want to point out how to actually get to this page if you're not creating a consolidation for the first time. So we're going to go back to My Companies. And instead of going back into Lena's consolidation, we'll go into this Green Needs consolidation, since that's where we're going to be spending most of our time today. So to get back to that landing page, we just need to click on this orange dot and it'll bring us right back. So on this page, we're able to do a lot of different things. At the very top, we're able to change the name or edit it if we wanted. So if we wanted it to be Green Eat instead of Green Eats, we could go ahead and do that. We can also go to any of the functional areas of Fathom. So we have our analysis tools, our reporting section, our forecasting section, and then our settings as well. Below that, we can see all of the companies that are contributing to this consolidation. We have 4 here, and one of them is an elimination company. We'll go into more detail on what that means later, but basically that is a way to create those smaller adjustments that you might need. You can also add companies to the group here if you click Add Company, or get rid of one by clicking these 3 dots and then Remove. Below that, we can see our recent reports that we have viewed and edited for this consolidation. You can always download from here or go in to edit that report directly. The last thing that I want to point out here is that we have these quick links at the bottom. So if you click create consolidated group report, it'll bring you straight to our consolidations predefined template. So a template that we have set up for you to then edit to your liking. You can also download last month's consolidated financials to Excel or view the breakdown by company in our analysis tools. So now that we've gone over the landing page, let's go ahead and run through our consolidated group settings. So here we are in our settings. We have a 6-step workflow that's going to be very similar to the workflow that you see for an individual company within Fathom. We just have slightly different settings here. So in this first setting, or update data, we have our group information. So here again, you can see these numbers. We can also click manage group to be able to add or remove any other companies similar to what we were looking at before, but you're also able to change the presentation currency and the start of the financial here as well. So this is going to be very similar to creating this consolidation from scratch. As we scroll down, we can see our financial year, so August 2016 to July 2022, as well as our budgets. So the way budgets work with consolidated groups within Fathom is we take the budgets from the underlying companies and add them all up, and then that's going to be your budget for the consolidated group. We can also see when the consolidation was last updated or check this automatically update data range to reflect latest underlying company results button. So that's a good option as well. At the very bottom here, you're able to click on this "Are all the companies up to date?" button. And I will go ahead and show you what that looks like. I have it pre-downloaded. So here we go. This is going to be the exact document that you get, obviously just with your information. So you can see all of the companies listed out, when they were last updated, their financial start and end, their non-financial start and end, their budget start and end, as well as the currency. So this is just a good quick look. We do have this information on the consolidations landing page as well, but this is just a helpful one glance. So now let's move into step 2. So this is our group profile. This is where, once again, you can change the name. We've got lots of places to do that. You can view the financial year, as well as upload your logo or edit it if needed. You also have some default rates, such as the tax rate, interest rate, etc. there. But what I really want to focus on in this particular section is the ability to edit exchange rates. So if we click in here, it'll bring us to this page where you're able to see the different currencies and how they're being exchanged into the presentation currency. So right now we have our default for all of these Australian dollars, as well as most of the South African rand for the profit and loss. The only one that we don't have it for is this South African rand. So I actually went in and edited this, which you can do by just double clicking in here. And saying maybe you want to change it to that. We can always go back and view what the default rate was as well by hovering over this little blue arrow, and it'll tell you what that default rate was. If you do want this same exchange rate to go out into the future, we can click on these 3 dots to fix the rate so that it fixes it for all periods. So if we click that, you'll see that it'll automatically update there for you. If you have a big consolidation with lots of different currencies going on and you do need to edit those exchange rates, we do have the option to create an Excel table as well. So we have the download option where it'll give you a template and then just update it and then upload it with your Excel edits, and it'll automatically update for you, and you'll still get these little blue dots and all of those options there. And once again, I do want to point out that this is from openexchangerates.com. So that's where we're getting that information from. So let's go ahead and move to step 3. And this is your chart of accounts. One important thing that I don't believe I've noted yet is how we actually consolidate your financials, which is a very important part of consolidated groups. So we combine accounts based on the exact account name and classification. So that's why you can see this sales consulting and this sales maintenance account. So if you want to combine two accounts that maybe don't have the exact same name or don't have the same classification, the way that we would do that is with headings. So if we group all of these together and say we want this all under the sales account, we can go ahead and create this heading. And then when we're looking at different profit and loss account or profit and loss statements, we're able to decide the level of headings we want to look at. So we can only look, or we can choose to look at only that sales account and not these underlying companies as well. This is also where you're able to create account level eliminations. So if we do click into this top line sales account and click on eliminate, we'll be able to see all of the companies that are using this account. And if we want to get rid of one, we can go ahead and click eliminate and it'll come up as eliminated. You can click done. But if you ever need to bring that back, we can just go ahead and click on restore. So nothing's going to be permanent here. If something looks off, you can always come back to this section and make sure that everything was done correctly. As I mentioned before, we do have more intricate abilities with eliminations as well if you have partial amounts that need to come out of accounts. So we do that through our eliminations company, which is essentially just an Excel document. So I'll show you an example of that here as well. And this is actually the one that I have included in this particular elimination. Consolidation. So here we can see that we have our company name, which is just Green Eats Elimination Company, and then the financial start year as well. So we have some different accounts and levels of classification listed out here. Right now, we're only looking at this sales account. So we can see it's a revenue account and it's at sales. And then we're eliminating this $1 million from the sales account each time. So this is going to then be added into the consolidation by uploading this Excel document as its own company within Fathom and then just adding it to the elimination. Or I'm so sorry, to the consolidation. Those words are very similar. So it basically just acts as an additional company. However, all it's doing is taking away amounts for you in that consolidation. We do have templates for this that we will add to our follow-up email with the recording. So if you have more questions about this, though, we are more than happy to answer them if you're a little bit confused or if something isn't quite making sense there.
Hey, Lena, we have a question from someone. They're asking, do all of the companies need to be using the same chart of accounts?
That is a great question. No, not all of the companies need to be using the same chart of accounts. However, we will only combine the accounts that are the exact same name and classification. So with any of those other accounts that might be a little bit different that you want to combine, you will need to use that heading option that I offered before. So once again, you just need to come in here and click on these different sections and then click on that create heading so that those are grouped together. So let's go ahead and go into step 4 now. So in step 4, this is where you're able to select which KPIs you want to track at the consolidated group level. You can choose any KPI that's created and turned on in one of the underlying companies as long as it's already added to that KPI library. You can toggle KPIs on or off in here, as well as set the level of importance as you can do in any of those underlying companies. If you are looking for a KPI at this consolidated group level, and you're not seeing it, you can always add that at the individual company level, and then it'll show up here. So right now we're only showing the selected KPIs, but if we show all of the KPIs, you can see that we have some other ones here as well, along with our custom KPIs at the bottom here. Moving on to step 5. This is.
Can we have one more question? Just asking, what is a KPI?
Great question. Sorry about that. I'll go back really quick. A KPI is a key performance indicator. So these are going to be any of the metrics that you want to track within Fathom. So as you can see here, we have some default KPIs such as total revenue or gross profit margin. And if we scroll to the bottom here, we can see that you're also able to create custom KPIs at that individual company level. So let's move on to step 5 now. So step 5 is where you're able to set targets for those KPIs or thresholds that you want to hit. So we can either use budgets for this if you have budgets uploaded and that's what you want to do, or we can go ahead and type in the target that we're looking for here. Right now, we're using the same target each month, but we can toggle this to use variable targets. And that way you can set a new one for each month going forward. You might notice this little green arrow, and if we click on that, you're able to adjust by a percentage or an amount each month, depending on the type of KPI. So you are able to set those however you want them to be. The last step that we have here is our alerts. So this is where we're able to toggle on or off alerts that will be shown in some of our analysis tools, as well as some sections within the reporting section as well. So you're able to go ahead and type in whatever threshold they want or you want there. And this is just going to be like an extra reminder that you might need a little bit more attention in that particular area. So now that we've gone through all of the settings here, we're going to go ahead and jump into our analysis tools. We're not going to go through all of our analysis tools today, just the ones that are specific to the consolidations. Perfect. So as I mentioned, we will have all of the regular analysis tools available to you, but there are some special sections of a couple of these, as well as one that is specific to consolidations. So if we click into this breakdown tool, we'll be able to see the amount that each company is contributing to the total. As we can see, this eliminations company is obviously pulling money out, but these other ones are contributing different amounts, and we can compare those here. We can also change the metric that we're looking at. So if we wanted to go ahead and look at maybe the return on equity instead, we can take a look at that here as well. You're also able to sort by alphabetical instead of result, if that's what you'd like, and change the period that we're looking at. So you can change it to a different month, or you can change this to a different quarter or a year as well. The other thing that I want to point out here is in the financials tool. So if we click in here, it's going to look the same as it does normally. However, if you click into any of these accounts, it's going to show you that breakdown again. So here we're looking at the total versus the budget, and you can see that a couple of these aren't doing so hot, but this one's actually doing better than its budget. So it's a nice, easy way to look at how they're doing against each other, as well as how they're doing against their budgets. So those are the two quick little things that I wanted to point out in the analysis tools. So now we're going to jump into the reporting section, which is really the place where you're going to be able to save a lot of time within this consolidation. So here we are in our report center, and if you've used Fathom before, it's going to look very familiar. We have all of the same sections here, and it's going to function in the exact same way. So we have our draft reports and our published reports over here. Draft reports are ones that you're still editing and working on, while published reports are ones that are completely finished and ready to share with others. We also have our template section where we have our custom templates, which you're able to save after you've created one that you really like, and then use that over and over again. You can also have that scheduled to go out so that it automatically creates each month, quarter, or year. Sorry, we don't have one set up here, but it's very easy to do.
Lena, can you actually go ahead and show that schedule option because someone asked about it?
Yeah, absolutely. I will do that in just a second. I just want to point out right now. So if we have a custom template, I'll go ahead and save this as a template. You're always able to do that with any of the reports that you've created or you're working on by just clicking on these three dots and clicking save as a template. And we'll go ahead and name this group analysis and create that template. Now it's going to show up in this custom templates section, and we can go ahead and click on these three dots again and click on schedule reports. So this is going to give you the option to put it in a draft report or a published report, as well as show you the frequency. So if you want it each month, quarter, or year, as well as the number of days after the end of the period. We have this notification email as well. So if you want people to be notified that it's been created, you can send, or we can automatically send that out for you. It will not send the actual report out. It will only send out a notification that it's been created. And that's just for security reasons there. So if we go ahead and create that schedule, now it'll show up here, and you can always change the settings on that schedule or pause it if we don't want to be using it right now. So we've got lots of flexibility in there, but you can have those automatically create for you. So the last section that we have here is our Excel reports. And here we have some different options: multi-currency consolidated financial results, including eliminations, budget results, including eliminations, as well as just regular financial results. So let's actually take a look at those consolidated financial results, including eliminations. And I do have that downloaded, so here we go. So this is how it's going to show up for you. We'll see the title as well as the time period for it. Then we can see the average exchange rate and the period end exchange rate. So this is going to be for the profit and loss, and this one's going to be for the balance sheet. And we can also see how or which currency it's going from and to. Down here, we can see each of our companies listed out, as well as the total before eliminations. And then we have this elimination section, so the amount that's coming out from that eliminations company. And if we hover over it, it'll just give you that little note. And then the consolidated total, including eliminations. So you can see what it was before as well as after here. And then if we do scroll down, we have the same kind of thing with our balance sheet as well. So if you do just need an Excel option, this is a great option for you. It automatically creates at the end of the period for you. So you can always just go in and download that.
Hey, Lena, how is the report different from a template?
So we're actually going to jump into a template right now. That is just an Excel report. How is a report, or how is an Excel report different?
How is a report different from a template?
So a report is for a specific time period, while a template can be used for any time period. So if you go into a template, as we're going to do, it'll give you the option to create the actual report for different months. So let's take a look at this consolidated group analysis. We'll click create report, and here it's going to give you the option for a month, quarter, or year, as well as that next time period. So the template is basically what you create the report off of. When we do have draft reports as well as published reports, available here. So if you have that template created perfectly to a T, you can put it straight in that published section. Since we're going to be doing a little bit of editing, I'll leave it in draft and we can go ahead and take a look here. All right, so here we are within the report. Up top, we have our header section. So we can click in to edit this header. We can add a background image or color here, align the text. And since we do have a logo uploaded, we can go ahead and toggle that to the right one. And we do also have an online and print version. So if you make a change in the online version, you will need to make it in the print version as well. It's just a quick little step, but sometimes we forget to do that. So we'll go ahead and apply changes there. As we scroll through this report, we can look at our consolidated executive summary. You can see here that we have some just key numbers that we like to look at to begin with. And then we move into what we call observations. So these are going to be rule-based statements, and we can click into this green pencil option to edit these. So right here, we're comparing revenue. So if the revenue this month is greater than the revenue last month, then we'll say it was a positive trend upwards, or else we'll say it was a negative trend downwards. And you're able to do that with any of those observations. As we continue to scroll, you'll see that we're able to look at some of our consolidated KPI results. We can see how they're doing, see these little alerts, as well as what they actually mean at the bottom here. So that's just a good overview of how things are performing. We have some breakdown charts, so you can once again see the breakdown of revenue or total cost of sales by company. This is going to look the same as the analysis tool, except now it's going to be all in one place within this report. On this page, we have some of our revenue charts. So here we're comparing revenue versus budget, or the cumulative revenue for the financial year. And these are also going into the future, as you can see with the budget here. I do like to point out that you're able to change the colors on this if you have some branding guidelines or anything like that. And we will be showing you a fully branded published report at the end. But to change that, we just go in here and select a different color. You can use a hex code down there or select one of the ones that we already have. And you can also change the chart type to be a line or an area graph as well. We have some more charts here, and I'll show you how to add these in just a little bit. But for now, let's just jump down to our financials. So I'm going to go to this group financial trends option, and this is going to show the total for the consolidated group as a rolling average. So you can see that we start in September 2020, and then we go to September 2021, and then we can also see the total here. So you're able to look at all of that in one place. As we keep scrolling to the bottom of that, we can also look at financials by company. So once again, we're just looking at a profit and loss, and we have our companies each listed out here, including the elimination. So you can clearly see what's being brought out there, which brings us to our total. To add additional elements into the report, we can use this menu over here on the left. We have text for text boxes and observations, and this is going to include any of your written commentary. So if you have notes that you want to add, you can always just add a text box in and go ahead and write whatever you need to write. We have our charts. So these are going to be any visual representation of data. We do have over 100 pre-created charts, but as I pointed out before, you can make additional edits there. And you can also toggle to different sections. So right now we're just looking at revenue, but if we wanted to go to, say, efficiency or profitability, we're able to toggle to those as well. If you're looking for a specific chart and you think we might have it already created, you can also use this magnifying glass to search for one. Next, we have our tables and financials, and we'll come back to this in just a second as well. But this is where you'll be able to find any of your financial statements. We have a lot of them already built out for you. So we have this month versus last month, this month plus the last 3 months. And once again, you can toggle to different sections. So if you're looking for a KPI table or that financials by company section, you'll find those here as well. The last section that we have here is layouts. And so this is going to be a one-page group of different graphs. So we have that for revenue charts as well as revenue or profitability, etc. And this is just an easy way to add a lot of visuals in at once without having to go find individual charts and graphs. So let's go ahead and go back to the tables and financial section. So as I mentioned, you're able to add any of these elements into the report. So let's start with those financials by company, because we do have a couple different options here. We were looking at the profit and loss, but we can also bring in the budgets by company, the financials by company for the balance sheet, or for the cash flow statement. So to bring that in, we just need to click on it and it'll go to the bottom of the section that we're looking at there. So now we have the profit and loss as well as the balance sheet. One other great option that we recently added is the ability to add financials for just one company. So if we go back to just the financial section and then add in, say, the cash flow statement for this month, we can go in to edit this so that it only shows up for one of the companies. So right now we're looking at the company filter and it says all companies, but we can change it to just be one of them. So if we want just the Brixton location, we can change it and you'll see that the title changes as well. So you don't have to get confused about what this is actually showing up for. There are some other filters here as well, such as which statement we're looking at and additional columns such as budget or variance in there too. As I mentioned before, this is also where headers are going to come into play. I'm going to toggle back to the profit and loss, but if we look at rows, we can either show a detailed view or a summary view. And the detailed is going to show all of the different accounts, but if we click to summary, we'll be able to condense that a little bit. So after we've made all of our edits and changes to a report or to a template, and it's perfect and good to go, we can go ahead and publish it. And you can do that by using this little arrow here. But I'm going to jump into a different published report so that we can take a look at one that's branded and looks very pretty. So we'll go ahead and view this one. All right, so up here you can see that we have our logo as well as a background image. Once again, it's going to look very similar to the template that we looked at, but we have a executive summary. As we keep scrolling, we have our KPI results and our breakdown charts. We also have our revenue charts that we changed the colors on and our growth charts. So everything's going to show up the exact same way. All the information is going to be the same. You can just make it look a little bit better to present to others. So the last thing that I do want to point out about Fathom Consolidations is that the actual consolidation is included in your subscription. You only pay per underlying company. So each of these companies, so whether it's Excel or QuickBooks or Xero, but not for elimination companies or for consolidated groups. So I'm sure that there are some more questions that I can answer. Kaylin, I would love to hear them.
Yes. One person is asking about adding a financial trends table or having more than 6 months of data.
Gotcha. So to do that, you just need to change the layout or the orientation of a report. So when you're creating a report, I'll just click on that. We can always change that from portrait to landscape. And so if you're in landscape mode, it'll give you the option to have up to 12 months instead of just those 6.
And then another person is asking about seen before versus after elimination and the table for PDF report. So if you edit a P&L table in a report, there's a before and after eliminations.
There is. Let's go back down to the financials by company. So if we click in here, there is an option down here to show results after eliminations, or we can show results before eliminations, and then that consolidated total as well. And then we can put those two. I hope that answered the question. I'm sorry, I got a little bit confused for a second there.
I believe it did.
Okay, perfect.
And then another person is just asking, when would consolidations be used? So can you give some examples?
Yeah, that's a great question. So there are lots of different reasons that consolidations could be used. One option is if you have maybe like a franchise and there are different locations that are possibly owned or completely managed by different people, but you want to see how much they're all bringing in total. So you'd be able to combine those different accounting books into one group to see maybe the breakdown of all of them and then the total there too, so you can compare how others are doing. It also is helpful or necessary when you have maybe like an overarching company. So maybe there's one big company that then owns some smaller companies, but you need to see that all in one place for reporting reasons. That is another reason that you would use consolidations.
So I believe this person is asking to have a P&L showing January, February, March, and then year to date. Can you try to create that table?
Within the tables and financials section, like,
I think if you do a financial trend,
okay,
and then add the total.
Oh, yeah. So I'm sorry, I was just confused by like ending in April, but the report is for September. Is that the question?
Oh no, I was answering the anonymous person's question.
Well, we can add in, say like the last 6 months, and then we can add the total column to this as well. So you're always able to add that total column to these trend charts, so you can see that there. I hope that's answering the question that they're asking. So I would just look in that trend section, and then you're able to add that there. We can also add this forward projection option if that's necessary too.
And then somebody's asking about comparing to pre-COVID. So comparing to 2 years ago.
Yes. Yes, you can do that. Let me just remember where it's located.
It's in a regular P&L. And if you edit it, it's one of the prior period options.
And see, this is why we have our support manager here, everybody, because sometimes we all forget. Where? I'm sorry, Kaylin, where is this? Oh, it's in the prior period section. I'm so sorry, everybody.
It should also be in variant.
Yep. So it is absolutely here this month versus the same month 2 years ago. Sorry about that, but it's definitely there. You just need to go into the column section for any of these regular P&Ls.
Oh, and then, so this person's asking, you can show the consolidation financial by company, but can you also get a year-to-date number for each underlying company? which I think you could do if you added a financial for each one.
Right. So if you go into the tables and financials section, any of these regular financials are going to be available for each individual company. So if we do this month plus year to date, you're once again going to have that option with this company filter for just one of these sections. So now we're just looking at the green AIDS shortage, and you can see September 2021, September 2022, and this year to date option. And if there were columns in here that you don't actually want to look at, we can always get rid of those as well. So if we don't want to look at the same month last year, we can remove that and just have that year to date.
And then are consolidated groups any additional costs?
They are not. So you only pay for the underlying companies in the consolidated group. So you can create as many consolidations as you would like to view your data in whatever way.
And then this one, I don't actually know the answer, but we can do an experiment live. If we have a financial trends table, can we highlight the other columns? I don't think we can.
I don't know. Let's take a look. So we'll just go back into that financial trends. We'll just bring in this rolling 12-month. As you can see, this is what they were asking earlier. I'm in portrait mode here, so it'll only be in quarters, but we'll go ahead and look at it anyway. Click the edit. I don't believe so, because we only have the option here to highlight the current period. We can turn that off.
And well, that answers Adam's question.
It does.
Thank you, Adam, because we all learned something.
Yeah.
Can you show P&L by class for one of the underlying entities in a consolidation?
Unfortunately, we're not able to look at classes at the consolidated level. That is only available for the individual entity itself. That is a great question, though. I appreciate you asking that.
And Haley is wondering if you can show how to add forecast data to a report. I don't know if the group you're currently in has a forecast.
The group I am currently in does not have a forecast.
But we can have a company that does.
Yeah, for sure. Let's take a look. I think this one does. Let's go back into that same predefined report here. All right, let's take a look. We'll start with one of these graphs, since that's a pretty easy way to check if there's actually forecasting data. So we can go ahead and click on that pencil to edit, and we can add in some advanced settings and then show future projection. And then we can add in that forecast here, and it will give you the option of different scenarios if you have them built out, but we'll just go ahead and look at that main forecast so we can apply the changes. And since this already has future periods, that will automatically add in there. But if you're looking at, say, a graph and it's not showing up, you went into advanced settings and it says it was added, it's probably not the right time period. So you can change that date range to either a custom range where you're able to toggle up or down the number of months in the future or in the past, or you can just go to maybe all time or something like that. As for financials, if we go into tables and financials, we do have a forecasting section here as well. So if we're looking at maybe this year, we're able to bring that in, and we can see our baseline as well as the total revenue forecast here. And we're just looking at July to June, since that's what our financial year in this company is. So you can bring those in that way as well.
And then another question, if they've made changes or adjustments or anything like that to a period that has already gone by, will the current reports update with those changes?
They will. Yes, those will update.
So Haley's wondering how you're getting the totals column in your P&Ls with the forecast.
Should just be an option here. So if we go back into edit, we have this show total column. So it's always going to show up in this edit option. So in this one, it's showing up right under this drop down that says current financial year, and then show total column, and you can just check or uncheck that box.
Okay, and let me look through what we have. Can we go over the forecasting options, because we got a few questions about that?
Yes. The forecasting what can you elaborate?
For a consolidated group.
Like how to forecast?
Yeah.
So you have the same forecasting section here. If we go in, it's going to look the exact same as it does for any of the underlying companies. So you're only able to forecast at the consolidated group level. However, if you were to save your forecast as your budget and then have that roll up, that is a way to bring in that underlying forecasting data into the consolidated forecast. Does that answer the question?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
For any questions that have not been answered, it could simply be because I want to do a little bit more research to get you the best answer available. I'm saving all these questions, and so I will reach out with you later via email. But I believe that's all the questions we have. Okay,
perfect. Well, thank you all for joining us today, and we will send out the recording, I believe, tomorrow or Thursday at the very latest. And if you have any questions, definitely let us know.